Welcome to the Amiibo show, where I talk about whatever I want, as long as I say the word Amiibo at least once. And I've already met the quota. Bye. Just kidding. Today's edition is going to be focusing on customization. Because it's within the last month or so, I've really gotten interested in the idea of customizing my Amiibos. I've seen a lot of people do excellent work with theirs, and that kind of influenced my own inspiration. So I want to dedicate a video to talking about the whole story of my customization so far. I guess to start from the very beginning, the first thing I tried to do was with Waluigi, which unfortunately, yet fortunately, I can no longer show you because I successfully sold it online. It started off as a simple thing. With Amiibos being out for a while, I don't know exactly when, but I got the idea, what if I could just take these Waluigi toys I see at my store all the time and replace Luigi with that. What really sparked the inspiration to actually go through with that idea, though, was going on eBay and actually seeing people selling this idea I had. They actually went through with this idea and they were selling it. They might have even been getting bids. That was when I had to do it for myself. So I buy myself a Luigi Amiibo, buy one of the Waluigi toys. I go to cut the Luigi Amiibo off, and I realize, how in the world am I supposed to cut an Amiibo off with a drill? I can't. So I got the either most ingenious or stupidest thing I found in my life and decided to glue Waluigi onto Luigi. And it made for some of the funniest things I've had in that time period. If you want, there'll be a link to the video if you want to see exactly what that Amiibo looked like in the link. But from what I hear, it went to a fan and they really enjoyed it, so kudos to you for enjoying the Waluigi. I thank you a lot because that's really going to give me a lot of inspiration to go on to bigger and better things with Amiibos. The next step was actually getting into painting. Actually doing something that takes effort, dare I say. I kind of figured that my first Amiibo was going to be pretty disastrous. So I wanted to try to reduce the impact by doing some clay practice painting first. As you can see on the shelf, these were the results of that. We have this guy, who's going to be chibi-robo before I realized I didn't have any great paint. Yes, I should have bought great paint. But this is painting practice, so I don't care if it sucks. The worst part, I think, was with his limbs, because the legs kept falling off. And I haven't bothered to try to clean it up yet. So you can probably see that the back has fallen off too. It's weird. I mean, the plug first fell off, I glue it back on, and then the whole freaking back somehow comes off. I glue it back on and it's been working fine now. But yeah, not the proudest thing, but we all gotta start somewhere. And then there's this little Kirby clay thing, which kind of sparked a whole bunch of inspiration to make a whole bunch of other Kirbys. They're not done yet though, so I'll just wait into the next edition of Customizing Amiibos to show you guys that. And then we got the result of my practice. If you're focusing on the face, feel free to praise me, especially in the nose. But if you're focusing on the feet, I apologize for the suckiness. And you can probably, if you're looking real closely, you probably can't even see in the camera, but there's some blemishes. There's lots of blemishes. Didn't really feel like doing those practice things helped, but it's a lot harder than it looks. Just the process of taping up the base, that probably took a good 20 to 40 minutes just to cover up everything you want. And it's so annoying to get the paint in certain areas, like tape up this corner of his saddle because of the arms and his head being in the way, and under his legs it wasn't exactly cake. But that's not enough to be an excuse. What can qualify as excuse is this whole concept of fitting paints. Oh my god, there's so much emphasis on, you look up guys and people are saying, fin your paints, fin your paints, fin your paints! And no one bothers to tell you how. Well, some of them may say, use water with it. But that's not really specific enough to me. So that's why I end up with a rough underbelly. About halfway through I kind of started realizing either dipping the brush or dipping water directly into, pouring the paint out separately and directly putting water into that kind of thins it out more. It makes me feel like I could do a lot better job with my second one. It's fine, this is for personal use. So, if the quality's bad, then it's my problem, not anyone else's. But it made for a good learning experience nevertheless, and I'm proud of how it came out, even if it does not come out as well as all the other online customs. I did buy another Yoshi and a Peach when they went on sale. So that's gonna, Yoshi would probably be a fair one to make, except for the fact of, oh my god, I keep forgetting of how annoying it is to get the paint around the saddle without getting on the saddle. And if you do get on the saddle, how do you get it off? Like, I don't know if you can tell, but my fingers are too fat to get under here. They're too fat to get my fingers in the right area to clean it off, or even paint it, or even put freaking painter's tape around those areas. The bottoms of the feet you might be able to tell are a bit rough, because there's actually still tape there. Because I can get it off, because my fingers are too freaking fat to get the tape under there. Even when I use like a needle and clothespin to pull the tape off, it still couldn't get it all off. And when I did pull it off, sometimes it would pull off the paint itself. I guess long story short, customizing just painting Amiibos, not even doing all this other stuff with the green stuff that you put to make it into different shapes and that. Just painting can be a lot of work. But I think I want to try a couple more before I give up on it. And if you do ever have problems, Magic Eraser is your friend. Not necessarily take care of these bumpy stuff like I learned the hard way. But if you get paint somewhere you don't want it to be, Magic Eraser works great in getting rid of it. Just don't use the whole eraser like I did the first time. Because if you use a good big piece of Magic Eraser, you're going to wipe off more than what you want. That's the way I cleaned up the base, even though it's not the cleanest. It would have been a lot worse if I didn't have Magic Eraser, because I did have this all taped off, yet somehow paint still leaked through the tape onto the base. But Magic Eraser worked like a charm, and a lot of this you can't even tell ever was bothered. Also, if you're using Magic Eraser the way that they tell you, it can get wet. That was part of my first disaster. Originally I was using Magic Eraser to just try to smooth out these bumpy areas, and instead I ended up clearing off all the paint. So it's a godsend if you get paint in an area you don't want to, because it doesn't take off the original paint for some reason. It just takes off all of your acrylic paint. And I had to repaint those areas again and again. And it took forever. It took like weeks. I would say, not including days I didn't work on it, probably took 2 weeks just to make this one amiibo. That was before I realized that I could paint other stuff while at the same time. Like, I could have done 2 amiibos at once if I really wanted. And it would have taken essentially the same amount of time. It also takes up a lot of paint. It's a yep. This is an unopened thing of paint that I started off with. This is what paint looks like before you use it. This was what my light work ended up with. Graham used to white for a lot of things like the Kirby's and the Amiibos, but between making the base and the final colors, I used about half of this to make that Yoshi. Plus the fact that I essentially erased all my paint off by accident and had to reapply those layers again. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you're learning, painting Amiibos can be a bit frustrating. I'm just hoping that as I learn more, it becomes more fun and less frustrating. Because I did have this goal that I want to try to sell custom Amiibos as well. I feel like I gotta get a lot better at the painting before I do that, though. And if Yoshi's one of the easiest Amiibos to paint, that's a bit troublesome. Because Yoshi was a bit of a struggle. I'm assuming that if I stick towards Amiibos that don't have, like, these small areas that I can't get my fingers in, it'll be a lot smoother. Who knows? With some practice, I was able to actually get better at painting without using acrylic tape to assure that I didn't get paints in the wrong areas. Despite the fact that didn't always work, sometimes, somehow, paint would get in areas that I covered up with tape. Point is, I'm assuming I'm gonna get better with it. Wow, I spent so long on that tangent, I forgot about the best thing. I may not feel that great with Amiibo painting, but when I started getting into clay figurines, I felt that came out a lot better. Probably because I didn't have to worry about paint being too thin or too thick. But this is probably the best thing that's come out of me getting into custom Amiibo making so far. Oh. That's right. It's Bowser with a Taco Bell bag and a taco. I'll be honest, before Luigi Jin, I had no interest in Bowser. And this really inspired me to get all the jokes of, oh my god, it's a picture of me, and then showing Bowser, Ganondorf, some other Eggman, pretty much any redhead in video game. That's what really wanted me to make get Bowser, because I actually want to do a customization thing with him. Nothing too drastic. Maybe let's just give him Eggman goggles or something. But this is a fair compromise. I specifically made the bag and taco so they would fit into his hands. And I'm pretty proud with the result. Completely justifies getting Bowser as an Amiibo. And who knows, maybe as I get better with custom Amiibo making, there might be future plans for this Bowser. It's too early to make any promises, though. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Amiibo Show. If you have any stories about customizing Amiibos, or Amiibos in general, feel free to talk about them. I'd love to hear a good story. And hopefully the next time I talk about customizations and Amiibos, I'll have some much more impressive things to share. We all gotta start somewhere after all. Take care, everyone.